Okay, it's late at night. The other day I told you about my least favorite albums of 2021. Today I'm going to tell you about some of my favorites with a few honorable mentions. Okay, the first honorable mention is Dream Theater, A View from the Top of the World. Now this one is far better than their last two, but it doesn't approach the greatness of Images and Words or Scenes from a Memory. But James LaBrie sounds a lot better, the drums sound a lot better, and John Bertucci sounds a lot better. Now, the second honorable mention is Volbeat, Servants of the Mind. They're a Danish band, but this album rocks. It's very consistent. I would, I check it out if you're into real hard rock, even alternative music. It's great. Number 13, we have Wolves in the Throne Room, which is kind of a traditional black metal band. They're from the same part of the country as Agalog, but they don't sound like Agalog at all. They're more straight on black metal. That's how I should say it. They've been around for a while, but they're more on the slow black metal side. So if you enjoy that sort of thing, Wolves in the Throne Room. Primordial is up. The album is Primordial is for you. Now, the next one is Vulture with Deal and Death. Now this is kind of a mishmash of sorts. This is sort of the Exodus Bonded by Blood era mixed with a little bit of high-pitched vocals. I like King Diamond, so it's pretty enjoyable that despite not having the best flow. I like it. I mean, some people thought it was the best thrash metal of the year. I don't agree with that, but hey. And the final honorable mention I'm gonna say is Swallow the Sun with Moonflowers. That is one depressing album. Let me tell you, it's far from their best work, but I think this one, along with When a Shadow is Forced into the Light, are two very depressing albums. I sort of wish that they could go back to their heavy sound like they had on Songs from the North and before that, but you know, I guess they wanted to change things up about a little bit and be the most depressing band on earth, which is fine. And now for the actual list, shall we? Number 10, we have Helloween with Helloween. Now, you can kind of tell the different vocalists, as you're saying. Kai Hansen has a different voice from Michael Kiske. And on this album, both do vocals. I don't know if I've heard that before. And a lot of the original members came back to join for one big album. I don't know if that was such a great idea. It is not as good as Keeper of the Seven Keys, though. Keeper of the Seven Keys is one of the best albums of all time, in my opinion. Okay, number 9, we have Exodus with Personal Vendetta. Is that how you pronounce it? This album, I think, is the best thrash metal album of the year. It's fast, it's aggressive. They they sounded like they came from the late 80s with with their classics like Pleasures of the Flesh and their other one. I forgot the name of it, but you ought to try this one. This is a good album. This is a very headbangable album. Number 8 is Iron Maiden with Senjutsu. I believe is how you say that. A lot of people think Maiden is going downhill. Not that much. There are a variety of great songs on there. Now, I always thought they should retire at the end of their last album, Book of Souls. Empire of the Clouds is my favorite Maiden song. But their closing song is Hell on Earth, which isn't bad either. Number 7, we have Between the Parade and Me with Colors 2. I think this exceeds the Colors 1, and there's a lot of variety to it. There is, it starts out almost like a slightly classical piece, then gets heavier and heavier. By the third song, you're almost talking about death metal vocals. And the album stays pretty much metalcore throughout the entire record. Now, I'm not a big metalcore fan. I mean, it's okay, but Colors 2 is the best metalcore album I have ever heard in my life. I can say that for sure. Okay? Now, number 6, we have Cradle of Filth. Cradle of Filth with Existence is Futile. Now, I like the intro. I like that this album is a little more groovy than many of their others. Songs like Existential Terror and Necromantic Fantasies are excellent. And as you go deeper, the songs don't change much. It's just an awesome album. I recommend it for all fans of Cradle of Filth and black metal in general. Some people think they're a true black metal band, but I don't think so. I don't think they are. No. Number 5, we have Carcass with Torn Arteries. Now, unlike their previous albums, Surgical Steel and Heartwork, you hear two voices, a higher screechy one and a lower guttural one, and that was very present on Carcass. Necroticism descanting the insalubrious. Back in 1990, and that is my favorite Carcass album. But this one is no slouch either, so go check it out. Number 4, we have a band that no one's ever heard of. They're called Abysmal Grief, and the album is called Funeral Cult of Personality. Now, the intro is very similar to Cradle of Filth, except it's even better, more organ, and I can't, for the life of me, after it's over, translate what the lady is chanting in Italian, but I'm just dying to know. And the rest of the album is in English, and he speaks pretty good English. He's very understandable. He doesn't growl all that deep, but he sort of sings in a creepy wave, if you know what I mean. Now, number 3, we have Diablo Swing Orchestra. This album has many genres in one album, but they flow tremendously. Like the first song is from the 80s, or not from the 80s, but it's an 80s type song, and then we go to the swing sound from the 40s, go to industrial, and eventually a touch of death metal, but it all seems to flow perfectly. So, wow, what an album. They get the bronze medal. Now the silver medal goes to a death doom band from Florida, Worm. Their vocals almost sound like Aaron from My Dying Bride. It's slow, it's plodding, but sometimes they use a higher voice, which I like too. So and the song titles are very morbid, like Murk upon over the dark moor. So it's a phenomenal album. Finally, we get to number one with imperative, imperceptible impulse, and that's by another Italian band named Agnosium. It was a good year for Italian bands. Their sound is very unorthodox, and they don't use a lot of distortion. The guitars don't sound the same, but somehow they flow rhythmically, and sometimes one note will drag out like a horror movie, and I love that. By far the best album of the year. Well, thank you very much, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.